NFL Daily coming at you here. Mitchell Renz ready to take care of this NFL mailbag. Jason Hammer, you're first up. What wide receiver will go to the Seahawks, or who do you want to go to the Seahawks? I understand they're looking for a wide receiver 3. However, I don't really know any players that could potentially be on their radar. I know we did a video about some potential trade candidates as well. If I'm Seattle, I'm going to not trade for a receiver, and I don't really know if there's a receiver I'd sign. Maybe a guy like D.D. Westbrook could potentially be there, but I'm going to sit tight with the guys I got and really try to focus on keeping Russell happy, which is maybe more focusing on that offensive line. Let's go to Praveen Padilla. 49ers trade a 2022 second and a fourth. Falcons trade Julio Jones. That's a good trade, actually. I think both sides would be pretty happy about that. If you could get Julio Jones back paired up with Kyle Shanahan, I believe the last time Julio was with Shanahan was the year he had 136 receptions. I think that was the year. Let's go to Rashard Lee. Who gets traded first, Rodgers, Watson, or Julio? If I had to rank all of them, it's going to be Julio first, Rodgers second, Watson third. I would be shocked if anybody trades for Watson just simply because you don't exactly know what's going on with him. Let's go Lego My Ego. Should the Chiefs get Julio Jones so no one else can have him? I mean, that's kind of the theory for almost every team. Should this team get this guy so no one else can have him? But, I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised that the Chiefs aren't a lot higher up on some of these odds for the simple fact of if I was Julio, I'd try to win a ring. The best team, I believe, that gives me a chance of winning a ring outside the NFC is, in fact, the Kansas City Chiefs, and they just lost Sammy Watkins. Why not? I mean, that'd be a hell of an offense. Let's go to a dude named Joe. If the Chiefs lose Breeland, could they sign Brian Poole? So, Breeland still remains to be unsigned, and there's been some interest there also from a team like the Chicago Bears. But when it comes to Breeland, 38 tackles last year, 2 INTs, 9 pass breakups. He's a good player, there's no doubt about that, but I'm also maybe one of the biggest fans of Brian Poole, who I think is a top 10 slot cornerback when you look at it from top to bottom. Now, if you guys are a Chiefs fan, please go check out the channel, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. I would greatly appreciate it. But again, I mentioned this one more time. Breeland's numbers, 38 tackles, 2 INTs, 9 pass breakups. Let me know down in the comments if you think that they should stick with him or not. I'm a believer if he wants to come back, yes, you absolutely do it. But if that also means you can get Brian Poole, I think he'd also be a very good fit with this defense. Let's go to 4 Hype or 3 Channel Friend. When will Rob Gronkowski retire? For the second time, I'm going to guess when Tom Brady does, because he just won a Super Bowl with Brady. He seems like he's really happy. The guys are getting along. They're winning football games. So when Brady retires, Gronk will retire. Let's go to Michael Kerr. Can the Broncos run a 2-quarterback system like the Saints did with Breeze and Hill? And no, I don't want Teddy to be a Tebow. Just get some read options with the Gordon and Williams. I mean, let's face it. Teddy Bridgewater's not mobile anymore. They're not going to use him as a mobile quarterback. So to your answer to this, I'm going to say no. I don't want to run a 2-quarterback system because I'm also a believer if you have 2 quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. Michael, if you're a fan of the show, please go ahead and subscribe to our Broncos channel, youtube.com/Broncos TV. All right, y'all, get your votes in here. Chat Sports Team and I, we've been thinking about starting up a new YouTube channel, and we predicate ourselves on being interactive. So help us pick a brand new YouTube channel, and if you don't know how many we already have, we basically already have half the NFL covered. You can go check out all those channels at youtube.com/chatsportstv. But what I want you to do, help us pick a brand new channel that we should go ahead and launch. So comment your team. I see some people spamming Bills right now. Somebody said Seahawks. We already have a Seahawks channel. So you know what? I see a lot of Bills in the comments. Maybe I'll go tell the bosses that Bills Mafia goes ahead and that they deserve a channel. Packers as well. So right now it's between Bills and Packers. If you haven't already, go sub to Chat Sports, though. youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. Let's go to T-Man. Seahawks, speaking of them, speaking of Seattle, Seahawks cut Brandon Shell, then sign Morgan Moses, or should they make it a training camp battle versus Shell and Forsythe? I mean, if you could go out and get Morgan Moses, I think it'd be an absolute great pick there. I was pretty surprised that Washington decided to move on from him in the first place. And if you, I know we talked about it. Somebody asked me about a receiver earlier on in this mailbag. I would take Morgan Moses. I mean, that'd be the guy that I would try to put at right tackle to keep Russell Wilson happy. So, but if you want to keep some competition, and I don't think that's ever a bad thing. So, sure, keep the competition, go get Moses. Let's go to Trezzy. Should Dallas look to trade for J.C. Jackson for a day 2 pick and a player in need? So originally they put a second-round tender, New England that is, on J.C. Jackson. When you look at over the last 2 years, I believe, Xavier Howard has 18 interceptions. The guy in second place is J.C. Jackson with 7. I personally don't think that you're going to get him for a third or a fourth round pick. They put a second round tender on him for a reason. So if Dallas wants him, I think you got to give up a second round pick. Let's go to Agronaut. Thoughts on the Panthers this season? Maybe we'll do a Panthers channel. I think from a on-paper standpoint, they're going to be a fun team to watch because you got a new quarterback in Sam Darnold. I want to see how Christian McCaffrey looks coming off the injury. You have some good and up-and-coming players as well, like Robbie Anderson. But in terms of a head coach, Matt Rule is one of my favorite head coaches. He did a great job at Baylor. He's doing a great job in Carolina. They have a lot of turnover there on offense and defense, but I still don't really know if they're going to win 7, 8 games because I still think they're the third best team in that division. Maybe they're better than Atlanta. I don't know. Let me know. Let's go to Sloppy Sammy Peaches. Is Mike Davis enough for Atlanta? Could they go sign a running back like Le'Veon Bell? Do I think that Mike Davis is enough for Atlanta? Yes and no. Mike Davis did a great job last year, I think, filling in for Carolina when Christian McCaffrey went down. If you're in win now mode, then no, I don't really know if Mike Davis is enough. But for what Atlanta has, as it stands, I say yes. Like, he is enough for them right now. Is he better than Le'Veon Bell? I think so. I think Le'Veon Bell's washed up, but what do I know? Let me know what you guys think. Is Le'Veon Bell washed up? I want you to type Y for yes, or I want you to type N for no. And if you're a Falcons fan and you haven't checked out our new channel, please go do. YouTube.com/FalconsTV. I'm typing my Y for yes, though. Let's go to Mark Mueller. You're next up here on NFL Daily. Hey, Mitchell, how are you doing, buddy? Doing pretty good, my man. Appreciate you asking. How are you? Which player for the Vikings Packers has the most to prove this upcoming season? So out of the Vikings and the Packers, which guy has the most to prove? I mean, if Aaron Rodgers ends up leaving Green Bay, which it sounds like he is, I mean, you got to say Jordan Love, don't you? Because he's kind of not. I know what Rodgers said. He's not upset, but that's when all this kind of crap started piling out of nowhere when Green Bay ended up trading for him. So I'm going to go ahead and say Jordan Love. Let's go to Matthew. Do you think Josh Allen is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL? We've actually already made our quarterback power ranking, so you guys can already go check out that video. So this is what I'm going to make you do, Matthew. I'm going to make you go check out that video and say where we have Josh Allen ranked. Spoiler alert, he is in the top 6. Let's go to Dust Bus. What up, Dust Bus? Appreciate the question. Do you think Tua or Joe Burrow will be better this year? I should tell you to go check out the power rankings as well. I'll say that I actually think that Tua might have the higher ceiling due to that offense with all the position players they have around him. But I'm a betting man, and I'm going to go with Joe Burrow because I have Joe Burrow as ranked as a better prospect, and I also really like the fact that they gave him Jamar Chase. So I'm going to go ahead and say Joe Burrow. Let's go to Dom Tom 61. Who will have more rushing yards this year, Javonte Williams or Melvin Gordon? So there's no longer any Phillip Lindsay there for the Denver Broncos backfield. Melvin Gordon has 1 year left on his contract, I believe $7 million on that. But for Denver, you ended up trading above the Miami Dolphins. So Miami had pick 36. I really thought that they were going to take the rookie out of UNC. So how about this? I'll ask you guys this question. More rushing yards, JW for Williams or MG for Melvin Gordon? The fact that Denver traded up to pick number 35 to take him, I actually thought was pretty surprising. I knew that they liked him a lot. I knew a lot of teams liked him. I just didn't see anybody trading up for Williams personally. However, I still might go ahead and say it's Melvin Gordon, where there's a part of me that thinks that they could really just pound Gordon into the ground and get as much wear and tear out of him as humanly possible, then ship him off in the offseason, or maybe trade him at the deadline and then rock and roll with Williams if they're very confident in him. But in terms of more rushing yards, I'll say Gordon, but it could actually be pretty close if we're really talking about at the end of the year. Now, if you guys didn't get your question answered, don't get mad at me. You can always ask me all your questions on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365. If you want to ask other questions to producer Jeremy, you can also hit him up on Twitter at JIBeedling. And it's funny because I didn't even have to go follow Jeremy in the script, and he's just going off script. He's like, you know what? I want to get put on the show, and it's all good, Jeremy. You're the guy pushing the buttons. If the other reason why your question wasn't answered, maybe it's because you didn't give him a follow on Twitter at JIBeedling. Let's go to Mark Mueller. What up, Mark? Mitchell, why is Tim Tebow returning after 9 years? I'm going to give you a solid shrug emoji here. So, the real reason is, and maybe this is why it shouldn't actually happen, Tim Tebow, Urban Meyer, good buddies. But if I'm also trying to make extra money, right? because Tim Tebow jersey is the #1 selling jersey right now in the world. If you're trying to make a little bit of extra money coming off a down year after COVID, no ticket sales, maybe you go out and get a guy like Tebow who you don't even know is going to make the roster, sell and get a few extra dollars. I mean, you know he's literally going to make up all the money. And if you're trying to make extra money during the preseason, people are going to go. People are talking about Tim Tebow even more than they're talking about Trevor Lawrence. Think about that. Let's go to Nick. Cowboys trade Jaylon Smith to the Pats for Gilmore. No. The Patriots would never do that. I get that Jalen's coming off 154 tackle season, but, I mean, let's face it. Linebacking compared to cornerback position is a lot more important. There's just no doubt about that. And then in terms of just overall, like, athletic ability, no. It's just not going to happen. All right, y'all. So we've been trying to figure out, again, which teams we should go ahead and create a new channel around. So what I want you to do is shout out your team because we are going to be launching a new channel soon. The way that we decide our channels, it's pretty simple. We see who's watching chat sports content, and then we try to create channels that we think is going to interest our audience. Like, we asked what channel y'all's want probably a year ago. The top voters came in for Seahawks and Dolphins. Those channels now both have over 15,000 subs. Most recently we asked, it was like Ravens, Steelers, Giants, Cardinals, and we just launched 5 new channels around that. So if you're sitting here saying, hey, we want a channel around X team, shout out your team right now. I would say the leading vote getters between Bills, Packers, and Panthers and Patriots. So I'll go give my word to my boss. They'll watch the tape. They'll look at the votes. Who knows? We might be having a new channel come out real soon. Let's go to the next question up here on NFL Daily from Vicious. Can the Raiders make it to the Super Bowl in 2022? Of course they can. Any team can make it to the playoff, or any team can make it to the Super Bowl, and I honestly believe that. When you look at how the season goes, I mean, injuries play a major role. Certain guys taking a step up. On paper, the Raiders have a good defense. If Derek Carr can take an extra step, if Ruggs and Brian Edwards can stay healthy, I mean, you're looking at, again, a team that can really get it done. And one of the best examples of this is look at the 49ers in 2018. The team won like 4 games. 2019, they went to the Super Bowl. Anything can happen any single year. Let's go today. Where do you guys see the 2022 salary cap news? Supposedly, cap ceiling is set to exceed $208 million. Yes, I believe the exact number is $208.2 million, which is definitely a significant upgrade. I believe it's about 28 million more than what you're looking at right now in this year. So you're going to see it's one of the biggest reasons why you saw a lot of one-year contracts this past year, because they knew the salary cap is going to go up. Shout out to the TV deals. Let's go to Shanav. Mitch, does Denver trade Teddy in a package and have Drew Lock keep learning behind Rodgers till he's more of a game manager and a franchise quarterback? I mean, potentially, right? I mean, I don't see why if you go out and trade Rodgers, you then keep Drew Lock and you keep Teddy Bridgewater. I think that's a little bit of not a very smart move. If I was Green Bay, if I could pick between Bridgewater and Drew Lock, I would actually rather have Teddy Bridgewater personally to send him back to that division. But, like, it's a good question. I appreciate it. But if I had to pick between which quarterback I think has a better chance of being better in the future, call me crazy. I'll take Teddy Bridgewater over Drew Lock.